So 39th verse. Kulakshay pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo abhibhavati uta. With the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. So from here starts the concept of destruction of family traditions. I'm not sharing my. I have to share my slides. I'm sharing my slides. Why isn't it showing? Oh, there it is. Right. So now he will. What Arjun is going to do? He's going to walk us through this whole step. How is going to happen? So this is the kind of fear he has in his heart now, that he's bringing out all sorts of explanations and logic to and giving it to Krishna. So the way he's going to talk about, like we just read in 39th, he's going to talk about the uh, destruction of dynasty, which is death of the elderly. So the whole dynasty dies. Then so he also then talks about the religion increasing, and then he'll say woman polluted, unwanted progeny comes. When unwanted progeny comes, the family life becomes hellish, and then eventually all the culture is destroyed. So this is the way he's going to take the whole hierarchy and explain it to Krishna. Okay. Yeah. So skula dharma nashyati and adharmo abhibhavati. So he's talking about kula dharma. So kula dharma is more of, so Prabhupada is starting in the system of the Varnashrama institution. There are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. The elderly members are responsible for such purifying processes in the family. So Prabhupada is giving that the system of Varnashrama institution, there are many principles. So Prabhupada is bringing out this concept of Varnashrama here. Right? So he's saying that in the Vedic system, there was a stress on Varnashrama. However, that Varnashrama cannot be at the cost of Krishna consciousness. That's something we have to understand from this logic that Arjun is giving. So when dynasties are destroyed, Kula Dharma is destroyed, as Arjun is saying. Right? So Kula Dharma means every kul will have their own dharma. Right? Even in today's world, we see that in societies, in some societies, some things like okay, and in the others, they're completely not okay. So even today, this concept of Kula Dharma, not exactly the same way as it was in the Vedic time, but still it exists. They have their own kind of dharma and they try to protect it. Right? So, and then the word pranashyati means destruction. But then he's also using the word sanatana. Kula Dharma sanatana. Right? He's saying the eternal family tradition is vanquished. So that's something. So he's using the word sanatana, which is eternal. And both these words are contradictory. So now what Arjun is demonstrating here is that the Kula Dharma is Sanatan Dharma. That's what he is thinking. And but then that's not the right way of looking at it. Your Kula Dharma is very specific to your Kul. Sanatan Dharma is eternal. So as I said earlier, you cannot have your Kula Dharma on the cost of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness has to be the priority for everything. Okay. Then comes the 40th verse. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Yes, Sandeep.
Probably for the previous one, you said that Kul Dharma is, is not same as Sanatan Dharma, but maybe it's a very material way of thinking. But my understanding is like Sanatana Dharma also would be, in trouble if the Kul Dharma is not, because let's say if somebody's following like Krishna consciousness, right, or like they are finding some sanskars in their family, they have like values that are coming from their elders, right? Okay, you're supposed to do puja every day, you're supposed to read Gita every day, whatever these values are, right? But if like the elders get killed, if the other people get killed, then essentially those values really change, right? So if some invader comes in, right, for example, like Mughals came in, right? When Mughals came in, they actually destroyed the religion because nobody was following the religion. So I guess my point is like, wouldn't like if the tradition gets destroyed, the dharma would also get destroyed because people will follow some other tradition.
Okay, so let's understand the difference between Sanatan Dharma and Kula Dharma. Sanatan means eternal. So, as a living entity, as a soul, what is my eternal occupation? Jivera Sarup hoy Nitya Krishna Das, being a servant of Krishna. That is my eternal position that nobody can change. That is why it's called Sanatan, it's eternal. Okay, it's a soul's relationship with Krishna. Okay? It does not depend on on time, your place, birth, social situation, anything. Like for example, chanting, which we all do. All these are as eternal, right? And that is why Krishna, in the end, he says, Sarv dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. So he's saying, give up all that kula dharma, whatever I've taught you, karma, family, whatever you've been talking about, forget everything. Surrender to me, which is Sanatan Dharma. So that's Sanatan Dharma. Okay, so Kula Dharma is a family's prescribed duties and traditions. So Kula means family lineage, Dharma means duties. So it's very relative. It's based on Varnashrama system, your social divisions, right? We have the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahman, and then the ashrams, Brahmacharya, Grasta, Vanpras, Sannyas ashram. So they are based on cultural customs. For example, in a Brahman family, a Kula Dharma could be to perform evening Sandhya Arti every day, right? Like, okay, every evening we do this Arti. But that might not be the Kula Dharma of another Kula. They might say, no, no, we do Arti in the morning. Okay. For example, so for us, like, we're with ISKCON, right? So Prabhupada has given us that in the morning, you wake up, you do your chanting, you do Bhagavatam class, you do then Guru Puja, and then in the evening you do that Gaura Arti. That's the way Prabhupada has given us. But other sections might not have the similar thing. But that doesn't make them as, oh, they're useless, they are atheists. No. So it's different. It can be different, right? The reason Prabhupada gave this to us because he was protecting us. He knew that the people of Kali Yuga are very distracted. If I don't give them a proper procedure, they will just stop following everything. So Kula Dharma is very specific to a culture. Okay. So these are the two differences. Now, so when you say that the Kula Dharma, if Kula Dharma gets destroyed, Sanatan will get affected. Yes, it can get affected. However, you have to understand that Krishna consciousness is independent. It's not decided, defined by anything. Savai pumsham paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. In the first canto, second chapter, verse number 6, Sukadeva Goswami is telling us that the Sanatan Dharma is what? Savai pumsho. All pumsha means human being. Savai pumsha paro dharma, the topmost dharma, Sanatan Dharma, is Savai pumsham paro dharma yato bhakti radhokshaje, is to offer bhakti to Adhokshaja, Bhagavan, Krishna. Ahituki apratihata. It should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Okay? So that is Sanatan Dharma. There is nothing that can affect Sanatan Dharma. In whatever position you may be, you can practice Sanatan Dharma. Prabhupada came here, so-called people, Americans, people who are born Westerns, they are called Malechas, as Prabhupada and Shastras say. But Prabhupada, because they superficially they can be anything, but in the heart they are pure living entities, servants of Krishna. So Prabhupada came and awake those. So Sanatan Dharma by itself can never be affected by anything. Kula Dharma can make it easy for you to practice Sanatan Dharma, but Sanatan Dharma always remains independent. Did that make sense, bro? Did it clear things for you?
Yeah, bro. So you're saying that even if Kul Dharma were to get destroyed, Sanatan Dharma will still be there. It's just that the followers may not be there, but the Dharma itself is exist, right? And it will
And
not go away.
followers will still be there. See, Sanatan Dharma, as I said, is bhakti. So let's say tomorrow, everything
And
changes.
sorry to Prabhuji, so sorry to interrupt you, but
Yes.
because if everybody died in Mahabharata, right, then or they didn't follow the Kul tradition, it wouldn't have it meant like they would have followed some other tradition which is not Sanatik Dharma tradition, some other made up tradition or something, right? That's where I'm getting confused a little bit. Yeah, go ahead, please.
So Sanatan Dharma never gets destroyed. It can become covered. Like for example, Mahaprabhu came in the 1500s. When Mahaprabhu left, after that, his teaching, they were they were just lost for a long time until Bhakti Vinod Thakur revived them and brought it back. But that doesn't mean what Mahaprabhu taught was lost or completely gone away. No, it was still existing. It just needs to be revived. And Krishna himself says in the fourth chapter, right? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo vidhu sa kalena mahata yogo nashta parantapa. That I again come again and again to give this knowledge, this Sanatan Dharma, because sometimes it gets lost during the process. So Sanatan Dharma can never be lost. It can never be eliminated. It can never be killed or never be destroyed. Yeah, it can be covered for some time here and there, but it can never be destroyed. Was that what you were saying?
Yeah, Prabhuji, now it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But as you were saying and as you were talking about, Kula Dharma can help you do your Sanatan Dharma in the perfect way, right? Let's, for example, in ISKCON, Prabhupada has given us this wonderful structure that, okay, do this, read this, chanting 16 round this. If Prabhupada has not given that to us, we will be very whimsical. Oh, today I will do 30 rounds, tomorrow I won't do anything. That's a Prabhupada stress. No, do 16, but do it every day. So Prabhupada created an environment for us where we could practice bhakti in a very conducive environment. But then that doesn't mean that environment is needed for bhakti. Bhakti can be done by at any place, anytime. So understand it that way, bro.
Great point, Prabhuji. Yep.
Okay. So yes, so coming to the 40th, 40th, yes. So yes, so now he's Arjun, as I was saying, he's following that hierarchy which I was showing earlier in the slides. That a death of elderly happened, family traditions are stopped, and then in the next one he's saying women are polluted, and then it leads to unwanted progeny. So two things now he's adding to that. So he's saying that will happen when elderly die, and then women will be polluted and so forth, right? So now it's very interesting to see how a warrior in the middle of a battlefield is thinking about that, oh, how women will get polluted and so forth. So he's having very deep thoughts there, right? And we may not think about these deep thoughts in our current cultural environment and in the framework that we are living in. In Vedic times, continuing the dynasty was very important, right? Krishna calls Arjun Parth to remind him of his Kshatriya lineage, right? In one verse, Arjun calls Krishna Vashneya, that he's a descendant of Vrishni, because he wants to think that, oh, how Krishna would feel if the Vrishni dynasty would have been on the verge of destruction. So dynasties were very important at that time. So that is why Arjun is stressing on it. However, we have to understand again and again, it's all on the basis of Vedic concepts. It's not based on a concept of devotional service. It's still not a devotee's mindset. He's still basing on the Vedas, Vedas which give this flowery language, which teach you, okay, how can you progress in this life and then go to heaven and so forth. But Krishna doesn't want Arjun to think on that level. Krishna wants Arjun to think on a level of a devotee. And then eventually that's where Krishna takes Arjun. Okay. So, um, so in this, there is one thing, I think, where was that? As children, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elders of the family. So here in one, I think he's saying women are generally not very intelligent, right? So Prabhupada is a woman here being referred as not intelligent. Now, this is a controversial topic. Everybody is thinking about, oh, how dare Prabhupada call women less intelligent? But however, if you see, the movement has more women than men. So it's a very often misrepresented statement by Prabhupada. So it's important that we understand what this means, what Prabhupada means when he says that women are not intelligent. So when Prabhupada says less intelligent, He's not talking about material or spiritual intelligence. Okay? Materially, you see, women are as accomplished as men, so there is no way women are less intelligent. Spiritually, I just mentioned to you, spiritually, women are, even in our movement, ISKCON movement, more women come than men. It's a common thing, right? So the way to understand is that in the Vedic system, the word intelligence refers to understanding the fundamental concepts of life. Right? When I say fundamental concepts of life, I mean how to differentiate between um, spirit and matter, for example. Right? So that's the way in Vedic times the word intelligence was used. But nowadays, intelligence is more external, right? That, oh, how intelligent you are, how well do you do in exams and all that. So, right? So, so that's one thing to keep in mind, that the Prabhupada is not talking about spiritual or material intelligence of women, right? So now, when a soul gets a female body, the soul tends to become more firmly attached to his physical form and appearance. Right? For example, if you call a man that man has an ugly face, he might not take it seriously. But if you say to a woman, she might not appreciate that, right? So what Prabhupada says is that as a female body, when the soul is in a female body, the female is more, if not in the spiritual practice, the female body is more prone to be, or the soul is more prone to be attached to that body, right? So, and the reason is because it's said that women are emotional and men are rational, and they both have their advantages and disadvantages, being emotional and rational. If you understand, women have a very specific function. When I say function, not as a function, I would say a role of a mother, right? It's a role. There's a role of a mother that women have. And now, as a mother, if a mother becomes more rational and less emotional, they will not be able to do a very important task which is needed for us in this creation. That is bringing forth new life into this world, taking care of children, right? So that's the very important aspect of a woman, is to take care of children, right? That's a natural role of a woman as a mother. So the mother has a duty to nourish the child and supply everything necessary for his well-being, right? If a lady becomes very austere or has a renounced attitude, so the role of mother will not be able to be executed. So that'll be detrimental to her natural role, right? So when we see that, so the women have a very specific role, they have a very specific purpose, and for that reason, when Prabhupada says they're less intelligent, he's not talking about intelligence like material or spiritual. There's just the ability to differentiate between matter and spirit, right? That begins, I'm not a body, I'm a soul. So this bodily misidentification is comparatively stronger in women than in men, right? Because women have a role, as I said, as a mother, right? And then the way Brahma has created man and woman, because Brahma wanted this world to be populated and this whole progenies to move forward, and so he had to make, like, woman had to be attractive to men. So if a woman is not spiritual minded, her whole body, her whole sense of self identity will be coming from bodily form, right? Her whole self worth will be the bodily form, right? So so when the whole um, identity is coming of self worth is coming from the body, it's very hard to understand that I'm not a body. I'm a soul. So that's a misidentification. So that's one understanding. That's like I gave you two reasons. It makes it more strongly attached just because of its purpose. That, okay, yes, Brahma has created, man and woman. They have to come together so that the new progeny can come into this creation. If not, then how is this world going to continue? Brahma's job is to keep this world continuing. So that's the way he's defined it. That's one aspect. And so therefore, the bodily identification has to be stronger in women, so they can be more alluring and attractive to man. And on the other hand, the other thing was the excess emotionality compared to rationality, right? So but then the advantage of being more emotional is that uh, women are able to use that emotional aspect, and then they can easily pick up spirituality, which is not that easy for men, because men are always rational. Oh, I don't believe in this, or what does this mean, and oh, how does this uh, so so the female body leads to more emotionality, but then there is a purpose for that emotionality, as I said, to be a mother. So in the Vedic ages, the role of a mother was glorified. In today's world, the role of woman as an object is glorified, which is not the right way. Right? So women have to be more emotional so that they can bring up children, and also not just children, even to keep the family intact. Women have to be emotional. They cannot just be rational and just think, oh yeah, this is right, this is wrong. That is why even in you can clearly see that women are actually more well equipped to take care of families and to maintain families and bring forth families. So that was the role that is being talked about here. And that's what Prabhupada is saying, that if a woman goes away from that role, then her intelligence is not enough to act in this world by herself. That's the thing that Prabhupada means. Julian Yadrati, you had a question or comment, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In one of the Srimad Bhagavatam classes in New York, this point about women intelligence came up, and someone from the audience was mentioning that it's just women and men are so different that even in all throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, if you see that, like what's her name? Draupadi, she was immediately able to call for Krishna because of the emotional side. None of the five husbands did that. And even like Kunti Devi, she's saying, like, give me this kind of pain again and again so I can see you. Like men, you don't see like men saying that.
Yeah.
So this was like part of emotion where, like, you can use the emotions also for to advance in spirituality. So that was one point I wanted to make.
No, thank you. Yeah, that's a good point you bring out. Yes, they Draupadi, yes, called out for Krishna, but those five brothers, none of them called out for Krishna, and because of that, they had to suffer so much. Yes, so yeah, we have to understand that the idea of women being less intelligent is not to restrict them in capacity and potentials or to degrade them, but it is basically to recognize that different bodies give us different kinds of limitations and endowments, and to minimize the harm caused by those limitations, and to maximize benefit that come from, right? So there's a purpose why behind which we have these bodies. Women, okay, yes, might be, but then they are more emotional because they need to take care of families and children. Men more rational, but then that men have a disadvantage that they don't take up bhakti so easily. Women take it up so easily because they are emotional and they can connect with Krishna so much easier. So yes, so that's the way Prabhupada is explaining it. Right? In today's world, unfortunately, women are seen as not as uh, mothers, but it's more like an object. They're not really being seen as a person. So it's very dehumanizing. It's very depersonalizing, and that's what's happened to this. At least it's all over the world. I wouldn't say the Western world alone. Even in India, it's happening now. Dehumanizing view, right? And that's very sad to see it, because actually women, they don't have to be equal to men, because they are higher than men. Because if women also become as rational as men, families will never be able to exist. Children would never grow up to be what compassionate, confident human beings that they grow up. It's only a woman's power that makes that happen. However, that power also comes with this not necessarily a weakness, but more like a limitation, which is being emotional. Is that okay with everybody? I was just wondering. This is a topic that that comes up a lot for discussion, and so I was just wanted to be sure that everybody is clear on this. There are no doubts, because Prabhupada will keep repeating it. It comes in the ninth chapter also. So I just want to be sure that you all are uh, very clear on this topic, especially the women and the men also.
So I guess, Prabhuji, a good way to look at it maybe is that for Krishna, it has to be like a middle ground, right? You can't be too rational and you can't be too emotional, right? Uh, is that a right way to say this?
It's a good, yes, you can say it's a good way to say it. The limitation is that women can take up rationality, but it's hard for men to take up emotionality. That is why men don't come so easily to bhakti. Right? Men have these inflated egos, right? You prick that ego, the balloon bursts, and then the man is lost. I've seen so many families where the wife wants to come into bhakti, the man out of his ego just doesn't want to. He doesn't support his wife doing it. I know so many devotees like that, right? Man doesn't support it, and man even tries to pull the wife away from bhakti, just because they're rational. That, oh no, I don't believe in this. What is this chanting? Why do you have to chant 16 rounds? Because they're always thinking about it rationally. Whereas women can pick it up. Women can be rational. So that's the advantage women have. Being emotional doesn't restrict them from being rational. But then for men, there is a limitation. It's not so easy from them to move to the rational to the emotional part. But you can say it's a good thing. Yes, it's something of a middle ground there. But women are more well equipped from a spiritual perspective to come from that emotional to the rational. Yes, Julian, yeah.
I think that is where the brahmacharya in the men come into play, and that's how probably they can come more into bhakti.
Well, brahmacharya is more for sense control rather than for bhakti. As I mentioned earlier, bhakti has no restrictions. Yes, it can help them, but it doesn't mean that all people who go through brahmacharya they will become good emotional devotees. No, that's it could be, but it's not a foolproof uh, requirement or a path. That's what I'm saying.
I see.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because all the varnashrama system it's doing is providing you a framework where you can practice your bhakti easily. If people go to brahmacharya in the early age, like in a young age, then they are told to have sense control. They are told about moral values. They're told about culture. Like it's dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, right? Those are the four steps. They're taught about dharma in the brahmacharya. When they have practiced dharma properly, they have imbibed it properly, then they can go out into the real world and take artha. Artha means money, and then whatever they want to do. They can have families, but they won't become animalistic. In today's world, people become animalistic for money. They will scam others, they will cheat people, they'll do whatever they want to. But a brahmachari who has been properly trained will just go to the real world. He will earn enough what is needed for his family, and he'll be happy with that. So then, when you do your dharma properly, you do your artha and kama properly. Kama, Krishna himself says, dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bhartarshava in the seventh chapter, that calm, like desire, sex desire, lust. If it is used for my purpose, then it's me. It's coming from me, right? Dharma viruddha, which is supporting dharma. So then, when you do kama properly, dharma, artha, kama properly, then moksha, liberation aspects, that becomes very easy. So this whole structure has been created so that we can do our bhakti properly. But then bhakti can be picked up by anybody. I mean, I don't think anybody of you in this class, at least to my knowledge, has not gone through brahmacharya. But still, you're doing very good bhakti. So yes, it could help us in bhakti, but not a prerequisite for bhakti.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, all clear? Okay, so I'll just summarize. When Prabhupada speaks about difference between men and women, he's not speaking about the soul, but just about such differences in the body and in the proper roles according to the vehicle we are driving, the body we are in. By understanding the qualities and the limitations of our body, we can go much further. So, so that's what Prabhupada is explaining when he says that, right? So, if women or if men they try to misuse those qualities or forcefully want to come out of those limitations which are inherent, then it causes disruption in the social structure, right? Then we have families where the roles of male and female are not properly followed in the family, right? The whole basis of a civilized society is lost. No moral values, cultures are properly transmitted to the next generation. That's the logic that Arjun is giving. Then society it faces unrest, right? And that's what's happening all over the world nowadays. And much of it comes from the deterioration of the family relations, right? So yes, that's the way to understand it. And I can send you all. I know it's not like I can explain this in 5-10 minutes. I can send you some documents. Probably I have a lot of material collected around this concept, and to understand it, I can send it to you all. If anybody interested, please, you can reach out to me. If it's clear, it's very good. Nothing to worry about. Okay, so that's the verse number 40. Then comes 41. So now Arjuna is continuing. So okay. So then unwanted progeny comes, right? Where was that? So Arjuna is saying that, okay, family tradition, women's polluted, unwanted progeny, and now family life becomes hellish, right? And all the offering them food and water are entirely stopped, right? So now lupta, the word lupta is used here, means stopped, right? So now the Vedic culture, it describes that people who do extraordinary, they go to Swarg, right? They go to the heavenly planets. And then people who do average, they go to Pitraloka. There is a concept of Pitraloka, right? So not all go to Pitraloka. And that's what Arjun is talking about in this verse. He's saying, right? Is it in the, give me a second. In the Pitro, right? So he's talking Pitro. Patanti Pitro hi esam. So he's saying, because nobody's offering food and water to the Pitra, to the ancestors of the family. Right? So this is a concept of Pitraloka. And yes, so I was saying, so that there is this intergenerational connection by this Pindoda Kriya, by offering Pinda, right? Prabhupada says in this, but then I think he says it somewhere that one who is engaged in devotional service is not required to perform such actions, right? Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of miseries. So Prabhupada is telling us that yes, this is something that is okay, yeah, you can do it, but then it's not necessary for devotees to do it. However, one thing to understand, when you read the the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu travels to Gaya to offer Shraddh ceremony for his departed father. So then somebody can ask, Bhagwan himself is come here and he's doing the Shraddh Kriya, and you're telling me that I should not follow any of these rituals? Prabhupada, what does Prabhupada mean by that? Right? So to understand that, you have to understand that Prabhupada was never negligent. Okay. After taking sannyas, Prabhupada would provide for his family. After even he left his family, he was not staying with his family. There was a stipend from ISKCON that used to go to his family. Right? So not doing these activities doesn't mean we become negligent. Even Krishna was mindful of his family situations. Right? When he comes back after he kills Kamsa, he comes to Devaki and he asks Mother Devaki, how can I repay the debt that I have? So she says, please bring my other sons. And Krishna did that, right? So you have to understand that we don't become hard-hearted and just say, oh, all these rituals are useless. I don't want any of that. No, you can follow that as long as you fully understand where do these all stand in this big framework that I'm doing called bhakti. So if you understand that, there is no harm there, right? So as we practice Krishna consciousness, there is still consideration of other aspects of our lives. However, they don't supersede your goal of bhakti, of Krishna consciousness. Always remember that. Many times your family members might say to you, oh, we have to do Shraddha. And you cannot just go bluntly and say, oh, all this is useless. I do bhakti. No, it's not that. Don't try to disrupt this cosmic harmony that Krishna has created. Don't try to do that. You do your bhakti. And wherever needed, you do it. Wherever you can avoid it, good. But don't try to unnecessarily disturb things. Yeah. There are two ways. Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells of two paths in his book, what's that, Chaitanya Shikshashtakam? I think there's one, I forgot the name of the book. He says there is Paramarthika and there is Vyavaharika. Paramarthika means Param, your Paramartha, Krishna consciousness. Vyavaharika, Vyavar, your ordinary dealings. Right? So you have to take both of them together, especially as all of us, at least to my knowledge, all of us are in Grahast ashrams. We have families, family lives. So we have to take care of family members monetarily, whatever, right? And even we see Krishna doing that. If you see in the 10th canto, when Narad Muni goes and sees, I think it's the 61st chapter, Narad Muni goes and sees Krishna in his palaces in Dwarka. He's seen doing all these different things. Somewhere he's doing a fire sacrifice, somewhere. So he's doing many things. So he's living like a normal human being, right? So even after the Mahabharata was over, Krishna himself is seen doing the last rites. It's mentioned in Canto 1, right? So keep the main principle intact, as Stephen Covey says. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing, right? So rituals, if need be, it's okay. Vyavaharika, ordinary dealings, you can work around that. However, don't forget your true dharma, Paramarthika, which is Krishna consciousness. When Prabhupada opened the Krishna Balram Mandir in Vrindavan 1975, Prabhupada called all the local priests, right? He called all the local priests. They did all the rituals necessary to install the deities. However, Prabhupada says in a purport, in that, I think it says in the Leelamrita, or in the purport, I don't remember. He says that, and what was that? They were priests doing rituals in the temple, and then just in the back of the temple, they were Prabhupada's disciples doing kirtan, Hare Krishna kirtan. And Prabhupada said to them, he said, all it was necessary was this kirtan for installation of the deity. But if I don't call these pandits and these priests, they won't accept our temple as bona fide. So Prabhupada was not like, oh, I am a devotee, forget all of them. No, Prabhupada understood it, right? So I'm just giving you both the scenarios to understand that we have to be very wise in taking decisions. Wisdom is a very, how to say, a quality that devotees develop. It's very valuable. So, and there's a verse also. Which verse is that? 11:29. Yes, Gandharvikam. 11:29. Let me see that. Go ahead, Mati.
So we as a family, we grew up with paying obeisances to ancestors as a family tradition. When our country, when a Catholic and Christian come, they completely stopped that rituals. But we continued, so we can just continue doing that and knowing that Krishna is in the background of all. But then externally, it doesn't look any different. Not that we want to change externally, but
So as I said, see, I'm not asking you to do it or give it up. You have to look at it from every scenario. For example, my parents, they do demigod worship. They have all the demigods in their altar. When I go in the same altar, I offer food, but there's a Krishna deity also there. So in my mind, yes, the food is placed in front of all the demigods also, and I don't mind it. I don't ask my father, oh, remove all your demigods. Only my Bhagavan is Bhagavan. I don't fight with him. I'm fine. In the same temple room, I offer food and I chant mantras and I come out. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm saying, what I mean by that is you have to judge on a case by case basis. Is this necessary for me to continue doing this? For example, in my case, it is okay. It is necessary for me. I cannot force my father to remove demigods from his altar because that will hurt his sentiments. I don't want to do that. I'm okay with it that way. However, if a scenario where I have control, I would preferably remove the demigod picture and just keep Krishna there. I'm just saying, so you have to judge on a case by case basis. Is that what you are referring to?
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So yes, so understand that. So as I was saying, wisdom is very important. Don't become hard-hearted if you become a devotee. And I'm not just saying to you, Mati, I'm just saying in general. None of us should become hard-hearted if we become devotees. Devotee's heart actually becomes very soft. right? That's one of the qualities of a devotee, right? So, but then also don't pretend, oh no, I'm a pure devotee. All this nonsense, get lost, right? So I was talking about this verse. Right? There's a verse in the 11th canto says, uh, "Tavat karmani purvita na nirvideta yavata mat katha shranavadu ya shravan mat katha shranavadu ya shraddha yavan na jayate." I think it's 11:29. Let me see if I can pull it up. Uh, Here it is. Okay, let me share my screen. So 11:29, it says, as long as is one not satiated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, one has to act according to the regulative principles of the Vedic injunction. What it means here is that don't try to pretend to be a pure devotee. Right? All of us being grastas, family members, we have to do things which might not be directly aligned with bhakti, but it just maintains the harmony of my family, of the environment I'm a part of, and that it's okay to do it as long as it doesn't break your principles. The four regulative principles, no compromise. Other things we can understand and play around with that according to your wisdom. Yeah, so I just wanted to bring this as a evidence. 11:29, if somebody's keeping record. Okay, so then comes
Prabhuji,
42.
one more input.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry to interrupt. So in like I was hearing that one class, and in that on the Sarat ceremony, so there was sannyasi who was giving this. So he mentioned about, he quoted one of the verse from Bhagavatam, Canto 7, where Prahlad Maharaj, after his father got killed by Hiranyakashipu. Sorry.
That's English.
Yeah, so he requested, like Prahlad Maharaj requested to purify his father. So in that verse, they've said that not only, your father is already purified by touch of my body. And then he quoted that, but still you should perform rituals, sharad, and all the rituals as per your duty of a son.
Yeah.
So even Bhagwan has said that in multiple places, and he himself did that personally.
Yeah, no, yes, that's been even as I was saying, Mahaprabhu going for Shraddha ceremony for his father. So yeah, it's a thing. But as I was mentioning, that you have to understand through your wisdom what I can give up, what I cannot give up, and Vyavaharika, Paramarthika. Always remember that Paramarthika should always be on top. Nothing should compromise your bhakti. If some of your family members come and tell you, "Oh, don't chant your 16 rounds today," that's not a compromise. You cannot compromise on that. Oh, at least today, eat some eggs. My cake, I've made this wonderful cake for you. It has eggs, eat them. No, some very foundational principles which we cannot give away there. Other things you can figure out. However, they should not be so extreme that they affect your bhakti. So always judge that, does it affect my bhakti or not? Yes. Mauna, did you raise your hand? I thought you raised your
Yes,
hand.
Prabhuji, I did.
Yes, please.
Sorry if I am going back, but I am still confused in this fact. So, what is the difference between Sanatana Dharma, Kula Dharma, and Kshatriya Dharma? So, and out of these dharmas, which of these is Arjuna missing, and out of this, what is he more aligned to, and what is he not following? So, I was confused in this topic, Prabhu.
Okay. So you mentioned another Kshatriya Dharma. Okay.
Yeah.
So as I said, Sanatana Dharma, let's go over them quickly. Sanatana Dharma is eternal, unchanging duty of the soul. What is that? Being a servant of Krishna. The scope of Sanatana Dharma is universal. That's why it's called eternal. It applies to every living entity, every living being, regardless of birth, gender, caste, situation, anything. Okay. And what does Sanatana Dharma include? Things like chanting the holy name, hearing about the Lord, surrendering to Him. Those are Sanatana Dharma. That nobody can change. Yes, you can cover it and forget it, but you can never, it will never stop being your dharma. Okay. So Kula Dharma. Kula means family in simple, sir. Duties, customs, religious practices maintained within a particular family. Okay. Now, the scope of that, it is very relative. It depends on family traditions, depends on caste, depends on local customs. Okay. Right. So, what is the purpose of Kula Dharma? Supportive. It supports the social life when followed properly. Right. Sanatana Dharma doesn't need any support. It's all by itself. You can be, as I said, it's universal regardless of birth, gender, caste, whatever system you are born in and whatnot. But Kula Dharma, the purpose of Kula Dharma is to support Sanatana Dharma. If properly followed, Kula Dharma can help us do our Sanatana Dharma properly. But these are just some practices that a specific family or lineage might have that has proven good for them to practice their bhakti. Okay, I gave an example. Evening Sandhya Vandana, right? Some people do evening puja and aarti. The whole family comes together. Lot
Yeah.
of businessmen, the Vaishya community. They every morning when they go to their business, they
Yeah.
open the shop and they offer aarti to the deities. So that's a lineage. That's a specific to their kula. That's not like Sanatana Dharma. Okay.
Mhm.
Then comes your Kshatriya Dharma, which is a warrior's dharma, which is the ruler's dharma. He's because Arjun is of the warrior class. Okay. So he has a very specific duty there to protect citizens, to uphold justice, and when necessary, fight for righteousness. Okay? It's very occupational. It's tied to one's social order. If I'm a Brahmin, I'm not going to go and fight on the battlefield. If I am a mercantile person, business guy, I'm not going to go and fight in the battlefield. Kshatriya has to do it. So his dharma as a Kshatriya is to fight. So that's Kshatriya dharma, which is based on varna, on the social orders, right? Uh, Vaishya, Shudra, Kshatriya, Brahmana. That's the varna. It's a very material platform, but it is sanctioned by Shastra, Vedas, right? Again, to do your spiritual life properly. So your
Mhm.
Kshatriya Dharma and your Kula Dharma is meant to support Sanatana Dharma. But it's not like you cannot practice Sanatana Dharma without these two. Sanatana Dharma is independent. But if you do your Kshatriya Dharma properly, your family Dharma properly, then your bhakti becomes more easy to practice. Okay?
Mhm.
So that's your Kshatriya Dharma. So now how do they relate? Right? Sanatana Dharma is highest, eternal. Kula Dharma and Kshatriya Dharma, they are temporary, material duties meant to maintain order in one's life so that one can peacefully pursue Sanatana Dharma. Okay? Whenever there is
Mhm.
a conflict, Sanatana Dharma is on top. Did that make sense? Was I
Yeah.
any clearer?
Yes, Prabhuji. But my second part of the question is what part of these dharmas is Arjuna missing and why? I mean, what is he not aligned out of this?
So right now in the situation he's refusing to do his Kshatriya Dharma, which is to fight. Okay, so that's one thing he's giving up. He says, right, my Gandhi is falling off my hand and I can't stand, my legs are weak. These are not signs of a warrior. So he's giving up his Kshatriya Dharma. Okay.
Mhm.
Sanatan Dharma, he's not following at all. Krishna will bring him to Sanatan Dharma later in Bhagavad Gita. Right now, he's acting as if he has no clue what Sanatan Dharma is. He's just pretending. As Prabhupada has told us that the reason that Arjuna is behaving this way so that Krishna can speak the Bhagavad Gita. So he's just playing a role as an actor. But in that role, he's not doing any Sanatan Dharma
Mhm.
also. So no Sanatan Dharma, no Kshatriya Dharma. Right now, he's focusing a lot on Kula Dharma, family, lineage, social. Like he's saying, oh, what will society think? Oh, the society will go bad. Women get polluted. Unwanted progeny comes. He's thinking about the society. He's thinking about his family. Oh, why should I kill my uncle, my grandfather, my teacher? Even if they kill me, I should be okay. So he is focusing a lot on Kula Dharma. No focus
Okay.
on Kshatriya Dharma. No focus on Sanatana.
So he's not devotee yet by that time. Is that what you said?
Yes. So he is not devotee, or I should not say that. He's pretending to have forgotten the devotional service. That's the way
Mhm.
I would say it. That's the way Prabhupada has taught it. He's just pretending to be like this, or Krishna has used him as an instrument because Krishna wanted to speak the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
That is why temporarily he just puts him in an illusion and Arjun behaves this way. Yeah. Was that clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, so we were at, what's this, 42, right? So then,
one point,
yes,
Roji.
yes.
So, like, you brought up a very interesting point about this Shraddha, the ceremony, and when somebody dies, and all of those ceremonies that happen. Pratish Prabhuji also, and Prabhuji, one of our Prabhujis in the temple. He's not with our current Baltimore temple. He's somewhere else, but he said like his dad or mom had passed away, and what he did is like, so he was by himself here that time, and he could not go back. So what he did is like, he said no sutak, because some people follow sutak, right, where they take off for like maybe 13 days or something, and they don't do any puja. But what he did is, he's like, since his one of the parents passed away, he actually became more intense in his prayers. So he actually did Mangal Aarti inside the temple, where like only like people, only certain people can go, right, that area where the deities is, the deity seva. So he went there and he actually did it more intensely, because he's like, with this he's actually making the path of his parent easier by doing more seva to Bhagwan. So just wanted to bring it up, Prabhuji. That's the way he looked at it actually, not
And that's
following the
okay.
traditions. Yeah.
That's okay. As I said, you have to understand, we all have to use our wisdom as to how do I be a part of the environment without unnecessarily disrupting the harmony that Krishna has created. As I was saying earlier, we all have to have that wisdom. For sure, by doing bhakti more intensely, he is helping his family members. As Pratish Prabhu was saying, that when Narsingh Dev told uh, Prahlad that 21 families before and 21 families after have already been liberated. So just by being a devotee, he has already done whatever best he could do for his parents. So he was okay in doing that. However, understand, if he would have been living in India, surrounded by his family members, and there if he would have said, "I'm not going to do Shraddha for my father," it would not have been very good for his family members. His family relatives who don't understand the concept of bhakti might have got offended, might have felt hurt, might have, you know, ostracized him from the society or something. So you have to use your wisdom. That's what I'm saying. I'm not, he's right in what position he is. If he would have been in a different position, the same reaction of his might not have been accepted properly by the society. So yeah, you have to judge according to the time, place, and circumstance. So, yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. So 42. Right. So now, yes. So now he's talking about unwanted children come. Right. So let's just see what we have been talking about. Right. So dynasty destruction happens, religion increases. If religion increases, women become polluted and unwanted progeny comes. Unwanted progeny comes, they stop doing rituals like offering pind to their pitras, to their ancestors. When that happens, right, family traditions are lost. So all the sense, everything becomes very materialistic. Society becomes extremely materialistic. Then the purpose of having children is lost. Community projects are lost. Respect for elders are lost. Family, all that is lost. So that's how Arjun is giving a progression and giving a rationale that why he should not fight. So this is verse number 42. Right? So let's see what Prabhupada is saying. Community projects for the four orders of human society, combined with family welfare activities, as they are set forth by the institution of Sanatana Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma, are designed to enable the human being to attain his ultimate salvation. Therefore, the breaking of Sanatana Dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in that society. And consequently, people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos. Right. So yeah, don't. So he's giving some logic here, Arjun. Okay. And then people whose such family tradition are lost, they all go to hell. Now that's what Arjun is giving as an ultimatum, that I don't want to go to hell, Krishna. You're asking me to go to hell eventually, like that. That's what you mean, right? So So for us devotees, our Sanatan Dharma, our Kula Dharma, they both are the same to satisfy Krishna, right? Render attentive and pleasing service to Krishna, right? So, but then there can be this worldly materialism that Arjun is showing here, and then you can even see that there's a lot of other materialism. I'm not going to go into this, right? What makes one spiritual is to understand the difference between body and soul. That's the whole basis. So yeah, but then Arjun has forgotten this concept and he's just elaborating upon some traditions, some Vedic, and he's saying here, I have heard by disciplic succession. So he's saying that I've heard from seniors that this is what happens. And this it's not like he's wrong, but as I said, this is not conducive to his Kshatriya dharma, this is not conducive to his Sanatan dharma. And Krishna's purpose is not here to teach anybody about that, about Kula Dharma. Krishna's whole purpose is to teach everybody about Sanatana Dharma. That's why Krishna is going to correct him the moment he surrenders. Right? Now we come to 44. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Right? Right. So again, he's using our own swajana. He's using swajana. Right? Just imagine the transition. In the beginning, he was saying, Dhat Rashtre Durbuddhe, the dumb children of Dhritarashtra. And now he's calling them swajana, my own. Right? So it's very confused. It's just showing the mindset of him, how entangled he is in. Right? And this is kind of the beginning of the conclusion that I shall not fight. That's what Arjun is doing here. Right? Where is that here? Right. So yeah, 43, destruction of family tradition. So 43 up to 43 was that. So so now this is the beginning where he's now going to say, I'm not going to fight Krishna. That's what he's going to do now. And then comes to 45. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapon in hands, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting in war. 40 in the battlefield. 45. Right. So he's saying that on Ram, there's somewhere he says, where's that? No. Yeah, okay. So he's saying so if Arjun does not fight, he will become bereft of his occupational duty as a Kshatriya. And then he will have to beg, right? That's what he's thinking. Oh, I can go and beg. But begging is unthinkable for a Kshatriya, right? So when Kshatriya spirit, right? So when Bhim met Hanuman, right? As you all know the story, if you know that Draupadi, when they were in the forest, Draupadi, gets her hands on a lotus, 1,000-petal lotus, very fragrant, and she wants more of those. So Hanuman goes looking for it, and sorry, Bhim goes looking for it, and he meets Hanuman on the way, right? So he finds the lake eventually, and the lake belongs to Kuber. He's one of the demigods. And Bhim, in his Kshatriya spirit, he does not ask for permission to go into that lake. There are a lot of Gubera's servants that are there, and they tell him, don't go in there. And he says, oh, no. They say, you're forbidden, don't go into the lake. And then, but he gets there, oh, no, I don't care. Bhima jumps into the water. What is he shouting? I'm a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas don't beg favors from anyone, right? So then the Yakshas and the Rakshasas, who are the supporters of Kuvera, they attack him, and Bhima destroys them all. Right? So that's the Kshatriya spirit. The Kshatriya never begs. Begging is unthinkable for a Kshatriya. So here Arjun has completely given up his Kshatriya spirit. Right? So he's going against what the Kshatriya dharma is. He's going against his psychology also. He's a fighter. Right? So that's what we are seeing here. And then last verse. Arjun, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows. and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Right? So he himself has put down his bow and arrow. And at one point, Arjun had actually vowed to kill anyone who even suggested that he put down his bow. Right? So this is a drastic change. Right? So now Arjun has stopped speaking, Sanjay is speaking. So Bhagavad Gita, yes, it's a historical event, but it also has a very deep meaning. So when we look at the world and use our own reasoning, we lose our determination. Pratyaksh and Anuman. Pratyaksh means what you see, and Anuman what you speculate. But you have to hear from Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita. Then you will get determination to continue your Sanatana Dharma. Otherwise, the Sanatana Dharma never comes. Right? And what is Sanatana Dharma? Now you can very specific. What is my Sanatana Dharma? I don't know. Right? Yes, bhakti is, but in some. So, if you have a guru, ask your guru. The guru will tell you exactly what you need to do to progress in bhakti. Don't speculate by yourself. Go and ask your spiritual master, Guru Maharaj, please tell me, what is my goal? What should I do that is going to please you? So pleasing the guru is equivalent to pleasing Krishna. So what pleases your guru should be your Sanatana Dharma, your specific Sanatana Dharma. So I think that's all I have. Any thoughts, any comments, anybody? Anything that didn't go through well? All okay? All clear to everyone? Am I audible to everyone? Nobody speaking?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, you're
Prabhuji.
audible. Okay, I'm audible. Okay, that's good. Okay. So as we started, and what Arjun is demonstrating here is two problems: Dehatma Buddhi and weak determination to practice Sanatana Dharma, Krishna consciousness. What does he say? Govinda, today I shall not fight. Sometimes we say, Govinda, today I shall not chant. Right? The whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to give us determination. It's a disease, Dehatma Buddhi, this bodily conception. But I'm not ready to take the medicine. And unfortunately, we all are born in Kali Yuga. We are unlucky. We are quarrelsome, right? So we have a lot of problems. So disease is huge. I'm not ready to take the medicine. Big problem. So please take the medicine. Don't tell Govinda, Govinda, today I shall not fight. You have to fight every day. Okay. If nothing else, we'll wrap up here.